Hey folks, this is Sarah McGuire of Ready Chapter 1, and I want to take a second to go over our critique guidelines and expectations. So you had another video that showed you the nuts and bolts of what you need to do, where you need to click, where you need to type to give a critique. But this is more about our expectations for the tone, for the content of your critiques, and what to do when you get critiques that you're not sure what to do with, and what to do with critiques that do not meet these guidelines or criteria. So I'm going to walk us through these super quick. Guidelines for giving critiques. Okay, when you are giving critiques, we want you to start with a positive, and we want you to be specific. So it is really easy to say, I liked this, or these first pages were full of tension and made me want to keep reading. What we are hoping for is that you will dive a little bit deeper into your experience and you will be specific about why you liked it. So I liked it because you started out with a protagonist in this situation, or there was tension because I wanted to know what happens thus and such. So just be aware of starting with a positive and again, being specific, because as writers, we do need to know what we did wrong, but when we do something right, we need to know enough about it that we can repeat it. And that's really what your goal is with a positive. Be specific enough that somebody can repeat that in another place in their story. Okay, describe what didn't work. And again, we're asking you to be specific here too. So this paragraph, I wasn't sure what was going to happen. Sometimes for myself, because I'll just get lost in the words or whatever, I need people to tell me when they lost interest. Like if this had been a book, this is where they would have put it down. Or maybe I've written something and they saw it coming a mile away. So all of these things are things that you can, again, sort of dive a little bit deeper into your experience and give them feedback on. Again, the more general, I didn't like this, isn't helpful. They need to know where to kind of go in and fix. But there's always a but. We are going to ask you not to be prescriptive. So this is one of my favorite quotes of all time. Remember, when people tell you something's wrong or doesn't work for them, they are almost always right. When they tell you exactly what they think is wrong and how to fix it, they are almost always wrong. So the they here is you. You are the they. So if you have a sense that something is off or wrong, definitely mention that, because you're not going to be the only person who has that sense. If you have incredibly specific ways of how to fix that, that may not be super helpful because you're seeing a part of the story. So again, that goes back to if you're able to tell them what isn't working and to be specific about what isn't working, but please hold back from, you should do this, this, and this to fix it. If, and sometimes I am this way, if there is something you really, really think would help them fix it, it's okay to mention that, but maybe couch your language a little bit. So if you considered doing this, this, and this, then I wouldn't have been as confused. Or maybe you could do something like, but again, give that person the freedom and the space to work in their story and bring their own intelligence and their own creativity to this. All right, guidelines for receiving critique. First of all, you don't have to do anything. So we've had a couple people ask if they have to reply to people who give them critiques. You can. We encourage it. Like, it's kind of fun to get that back and forth, but you don't have to. So don't feel compelled to answer if you don't want to. Sometimes you don't have time to. So first of all, you don't have to do anything if you're with your critique. And then the big question, what if they didn't get it? So this is something that comes up a lot, always something that comes up in crit groups with me, or regularly comes up. What if they didn't get it? So I feel like there are two reasons for why somebody wouldn't get it. Sometimes it's because somebody is not familiar with your genre. So I write fantasy. There are times when people just don't get fantasy and they are trying to fix the fantasy elements of the story. So in that case, it could be that they're just a bad match. And if that's the case, if you think it was a bad match, they just literally didn't get what was going on from the get-go, we would suggest letting it go once. Like, it's not your job to educate somebody about what they don't know about your genre. So we would suggest letting it go. You don't have to reply. If you end up having a ton of interactions with this person and you really would just not have that be the case, feel free to email it. But I would say if it's a bad match, let it go. Honestly, it's good experience for life because it happens a lot. If you think they misunderstood something, examine your writing. And for me, there's normally like 24 hours or 48 hours between acknowledging that somebody misunderstood something I wrote and then being able to dig in and figure out if there was anything that I could do to correct that misunderstanding. So if you have one person misunderstand something, that's okay. If you have multiple people who aren't getting something, don't understand why somebody's acting in a certain way, I would suggest examining your writing. What we really want to avoid is somebody giving you a critique and you being like, well, you just didn't get it. And part of that is because to a certain extent, you don't get that luxury when you have a book. When you've written a book and it is in somebody's hand, you do not get to sit on the edge of their chair or in the same room and say, oh, just so you know, this is what's going on. So we want you to treat that as an opportunity to make sure that everything your reader needs is in the text so that they can move through it clearly. So what we do encourage, though, is feel free to ask clarifying questions. So if somebody did not get it, you are more than welcome to be, can you please tell me what in the text made you think that? And I do this all the time with my critique group. Okay, why did you think she was angry? Or why did you think this was happening? And sometimes it helps me put a finger on exactly the part of the text that I need to change. Or you can even make suggestions. So if I did this, this, and this, would you get a better sense of what's coming or what has happened? So feel free to ask these questions. Anything that helps you dig back into the text, we are super excited about. We're just trying to avoid that, well, you don't get it or whatever. All right. What if somebody violates these guidelines? If something happens, well, first of all, if somebody is ugly or derisive or insulting or anything like that, you flag the post immediately. You can also flag the post in email email me at team@readychapter1.com. Go straight to that. If you have something that you're not sure about, go ahead and email us at team@readychapter1.com, and we can sort of help you through that, sort things out, all of that. And I should add, if you flag a post, that person won't see it, so it's not like somebody will be able to look at this and be like, so-and-so flagged this post. We'll be the ones who can step in and deal with it. So I hope that helps. And truly, if you're not sure what to do with anything, if you feel uncomfortable for any reason, please do feel free to email us again at the email provided. We so want this to be an experience that helps you grow as a writer. And we want you to be able to give the critiques that help other people grow as a writer. And these are our expectations so that everyone can thrive in this environment. So please help us do this and let us know if something is keeping that from happening. Thank you and happy writing.